Hello, world. My name is Max Stein, and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck, and I really love video games.
I'm Rafa Boy, and I love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And today, we actually have a very special video game that we're going to be talking about. It's the 25th anniversary of Super Smash
Oh my
Bros.
gosh,
For the Nintendo
25 years.
64.
Yeah,
That's how old we
painful.
all
I am.
are. Yeah, right.
Yay! I used to play this in
Whew.
elementary school, middle school.
Rented from Blockbuster
Time
says what?
Be flying.
Elementary school. Oh God.
If you're wondering why Buck sounds and or looks the way he does, he's across the pond. He's
I'm in
Jolly
London.
good. He's in jolly good England.
Mate,
Cue the
Before
most
we-
British music possible here. Yes.
Or is that France? I don't know. Is that their mortal enemy? Sorry. We were talking about before we jumped on the call about are there any games that might be over there in England that you can't access in the States? Buck was trying to rack his brain to think of one. Were you able to? Can you think of anything
Oh,
at
yeah.
all?
I've got a really good
What-
one for the Retro Zone today.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well then let's get into the show. So Buck
That's
hit me.
perfect. Oh, thank God, because guys, I want to go back.
Back in time.
Hey, I've got a great one for you
Boy.
guys today. So Mac had mentioned before one of his favorite RPGs for the SNES, I'm sure, Illusion of Gaia, which you guys may or may not be familiar with, right?
Oh yeah,
And he
before
said,
the
I played
recording
that.
we were talking.
Yeah, and we talked about Super Nintendo games in general too. And he said, "Yeah, I played the first one."
yeah.
I said, "No, you said you played Illusion of Gaia. That's the second one. First one we got here in the States is a game called Soul Blazer. And the third one is a game we did not get in the States. They got it in Japan and in Europe. Japan, it was called Tenchi Sozo, and in Europe, it was called Terranigma. Terranigma
Okay.
was a follow-up from Enix for the Super Famicom, and it's basically the third in the trilogy from Quintet. Follows along the same kind of play style, but a totally different character and kind of a different deal. But man, if you've ever seen how beautiful this game is, if you guys look this up or we show some video here,
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah, I'm
right
looking at
now.
some
It looks
screenshots right now.
awesome.
it's one
I've
of those
never
examples.
played
Mhm.
any of the Gaia games, like the Illusion of Gaia. Like I've never
Mhm.
played any of these. And
They're a
this looks
great example
beautiful.
of how the system evolved, especially in the case of this one, because Soul Blazer came out in 92. Illusion of Gaia came out in 93. And this game didn't come out in Europe till 96, 95 in Japan, and 96 in Europe. Enix actually closed its U.S. localization branch before it was finished. So that's one of the reasons why we never got it. Oops. Yeah, because obviously, I mean, it came out in Europe, so it's in English. Like if you own an import copy, or you
Right.
get an import copy from us, it's something you can play in English if you have like a Retron 5 or a Super HD to play those. But you see that jump, right? You see that jump that the console made, like in music and sound and graphics and everything.
Illusion of Gaia is a great game.
It is.
I
Soul Blazer's
know
good
it's-
too. It's just you can tell it was earlier.
I know it's a bad word, but I played an emulated copy of back in like 2007, like when I was in like high school or something. And what a great game! I don't know. It was the first emulated game I played like all the way through. I remember
Were
that.
these like a kind of hack and slash sort of action RPGs, or?
Yeah, they're very similar to like the Mana series, Secret of Mana,
Yeah.
Secret of
Okay.
Evermore, where it's
It would
action
like
adventure.
pause for magic if I remember correctly or something like this.
Cool.
But this one looks great.
Exactly like those.
I love this character's design. I love his giant pants.
Oh yeah,
He looks cool.
Yeah.
His cool red pants. Wow, very
Yeah,
animated.
everything
I love that. I want to.
everything about that's pretty cool. It gets a bad rap for being a little hard, being a little bit of a challenging game. But yeah, what Super
What
Nintendo
Super
or
Nintendo
Nintendo
game
game
isn't?
wasn't, right?
Yeah, geez. I wonder how I can get my hands on one copy of this bad boy.
Well, again,
Gotta look
you
on.
can get a European or a Japanese copy, and again, it's an action RPG, so you don't have to do a whole lot of reading, but you can get a European copy as well too, and you can play it on original hardware pretty easily.
Well, nice. Well, there you go. All right. I think that's it for the Retro Zone, yes?
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with a very special message from a very special someone. All right, we're back. We're back in our very special 25th anniversary episode for Super Smash Brothers, and I got an email because someone else knew it was Super Smash Brothers' birthday, and I'm just going to go ahead and open it up here and put it in the chat for us.
My lords, my ladies, I now present to you the king of video games.
Hiya! Hello, Game Treasure Crew. It is I, the king of video games. And
so
I
handsome.
challenge you to a game jam fight. I challenge you to bring me game gems. This time of the fighting game variety.
He gets better at speaking every time I hear him.
I was just about to say that. He just gets better and better at talking as we go.
Yeah.
English, definitely his first language.
He just hits it in one and then he just moves on. You know what I mean? Because he's like, I got it in the can. King of video games. Since we're talking about Super Smash Brothers anyhow, I think we would love to present to you some fighting game gems. I don't know why you challenged us to this, because that feels
it's
pretty
fighting.
aggressive. And when you did that jump kick at the beginning of that was pretty good. So I don't want to make you angry.
Oh, is that what that was? It was him kicking? I thought he was having a stroke.
No, he was having a stroke when he stuttered and said, "Oh, fight good games." Okay, so King, listen, I have 2 gems for you, King. I have one traditional gem and then one rare gem from the foreign lands across the sea of the Krakens. What I mean by this is that
Scotland?
Fighting games are hard. I've been playing fighting games. I was kind of talking to Raph about this earlier, but I've been playing fighting games since I was a wee lad, because we had Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo, and I was throwing Hadokens by the time I was like 6 or 7. And I remember bringing one of my dearest friends over for the first time and trying to put in Super Nintendo and trying to tell him to do a fireball, and he could not. And it became evident that, like, oh, I have been trained now. You know what I mean? And we played all through Buck's college years, pretty much. So just like his entire life up to the age of 23 or something like this. I'm going to summarize it as all the way up until online play became a thing, because then you had to fight people that could actually play. But doing round robin fighting games was always like a pretty constant pastime for us. And it's everything from Marvel vs. Capcom, Super Smash Brothers, and then some more, let's say, acquired Japanese, not Japanese only, but you're about to get what I'm getting at here is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It gets a lot of love from the fighting game community, but me, when I need my 3-letter followed by the number 2 fighting games, I gotta go with Capcom vs. SNK 2, baby.
CVS.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Capcom vs. SNK 2 for the Dreamcast specifically. King, you probably haven't played this game because, like I said, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 steals all the light from CVS. But Capcom vs. SNK 2 is, you play it on the Dreamcast and play it with a Dreamcast controller. The shape of the Dreamcast controller is very conducive, in my opinion, to the way this game plays.
Interesting.
So it's just how it sounds. It's Capcom characters versus SNK characters, but they don't include any of they don't include like Mega Man, and they pretty much only include fighters from Capcom games. So it's like from the SNK side, you got all the people from Fatal Fury, you got all the people from like King of Fighters, all those other obscure SNK games that I frankly haven't played. And then from the Capcom side, you've got like mostly Street Fighter, honestly, representing, but also like Darkstalkers and like the more legit 2D fighters.
No, like Captain
this game,
Commando or anything goofy like that.
right? No Bonchan, no cactus guy from the Rhythm game or whatever. But this game was really cool because you would pick a team of 3 fighters, like in Capcom like Marvel versus Capcom. Now I'm gonna mix them up forever. Like Marvel versus Capcom, you pick a team of 3, but you didn't have to, because what you would do is basically you'd pick your team roster, and then you'd like set up a sort of like handicap system within yourself. So it's
like
hard to explain, but basically it's you'd balance the difficulty of your own people. So you'd have 3 characters, right? And then you'd have, once you select them, you'd have a 1, and a 2. That is to say, like it's like mixing a drink, like portion wise. Like the 2 is going to be twice as strong, do twice as much damage, have twice as much health as the 1. You could also just have 2 characters, and it would be 2 2s, or you could play with just 1 4. And just have like, you could, if you were just like, no, I'm just gonna play as Sagat, and you're just like, it's just, and the other person would have Terry Bogard and Kim Kafwan and the ninja chick from Fatal Fury, Mai Shiranui, and you're, or and so there was a lot of fun in the mixing and matching of teams. Sometimes you just get like, you'd have something to prove, and you'd just be Benny Maru, and you'd be like, I'm so fucking good with Benny Maru, like, you know what I mean? Bring it on. But yeah, Kim Kafwan, Benny Maru, and Joe Higashi were probably my 3 favorite. They also had characters from Samurai Showdown in there. So they had what's the main guy's name? Hamaru had great character.
Nakaru
and then
was in it.
The other game mechanic that I wanted to talk about, besides that team division thing that you could do, is that you could pick a style that you would fight in. And so you had Xism, Aism, or is that, am I thinking of, wait, before I make myself look foolish, is that Alpha 3? Capcom versus SNK had this as well,
Alpha
right?
Alpha has the isms.
Okay,
just the naming, like the naming nomenclature of
grooves.
Them.
It's grooves. Okay.
Yeah, grooves
right?
is what it is in Capcom versus SNK.
So they have C groove, A groove, and P groove.
Yeah.
All right. So in Capcom vs SNK 2, you have different grooves that you can choose from before you get into the battle after you've chosen your team. And it's like Street Fighter Alpha 3. And so it's C groove, A groove, P groove. One of them is like your traditional, like you can charge up to 3 bars of super and then use them in any manner you want. You can use a number 1 super, like a level 2, a level 3, several ones, whatever. There's one that you activate it, and then you basically can make your own custom combo, because it gets rid of like all of your startup time for all of your moves. So you can just like spam hard punch. Yeah, like Vism. And then there was one that was like just like one big, like I think it was based off of Samurai Showdown, the K groove or whatever, where like you'd activate this mode where you were just like ungodly strong, and then you had like one crazy level 3 super that you could like nut out before the timer ran out.
Xism, whichever one that was in Alpha that had that too.
Yeah,
had one big super.
So really fun, lots of memories of round robining that game with Buck and all of my friends in his college dorm, and all of Buck's friends, and just like just all the different which characters you like and got good at. And there was so many characters in the game. Actually, there's quite many. I would say it rivals the roster of MVC2, but it's just not many people know who Rugal is. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's just like
there's 44 playable characters in that game.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn. I was just about to say.
Talk about I want to take you for a ride. It's a lot of characters. And they were all really kick-ass anime, like, and I'm talking like 80s, 90s anime designs where they're just like ridiculously.
One of the coolest things about the art design in those was, depending on whether you took the Capcom style special set of moves or the SNK style of moves, whichever characters you picked, they all had 2 renditions of artwork in the game. So if you picked Chun-Li, but you picked one of the SNK fighting styles, you got this SNK style artwork of Chun-Li. Like, what if Chun-Li came from this
Dope.
universe instead
Dude,
of this
I had
universe?
forgot about that.
That's
yes,
super
in the
cool.
it would the portrait of before you would fight would be
Mhm.
artistically different. It would either be SNK
Yeah.
styled or Capcom styled. That's so,
Shinkiro
it's
was the SNK guy, and Nishimura
the
was the
SNK
Capcom
one
guy.
like looks really smooth and everything looks like really like hyper realistic. Like what then the Capcom one is super anime and inky and
more
stylized.
cartoony. Yeah, yeah, that game
So,
was great.
yeah,
That came out on
King-
the PS2, Xbox, and the GameCube and Dreamcast. So
Yeah, exactly. It came out on a lot of things, but I don't think every time I bring it up, you'll often find Marvel vs. Capcom machines at barcades, and if you see people playing them, if you say, "Have you played Capcom vs. SNK?" It's usually no.
it wasn't as
Oh
popular.
yeah, I've
yeah.
never seen.
But I
a
think it's a
Capcom
better
versus
game.
SNK.
Capcom
tab.
vs. SNK played more like a traditional Street Fighter or SNK game, whereas Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was that Marvel superheroes series that was
Yes.
a totally different animal.
And then Capcom vs. SNK 3 played too much like an SNK game for my taste.
Right.
Chaos.
Yeah, that was.
And then
Yeah, that was it.
that was the name of the subject. Capcom vs. SNK Chaos.
Wasn't that the one that had like the Martian from one of the
Yes.
characters was
Metal
Martian, the
Slug.
Martian from Metal Slug. Yeah, I used to have
Yes.
that in my 4-slot Neo Geo arcade machine. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that was developed directly by SNK, and that's why it's so off.
Yeah, not quite as
Dude.
good. And then my half portion for you, King, is a game that I played for this week with Raph a little bit. The game is on Steam. It's like less than $10. It's called Your Only Move is Hustle, which
It's a
you can
banger.
shorten to Yomi Hustle. Oftentimes people do. It is a turn-based fighting game.
I've seen that. It was beautiful.
This game fucking kicks ass. I was so surprised by how good it is. Oh my god, Buck, we have to play it when you get back.
Yeah.
Is this the stick
You
figure
will-
one?
Yes. So the
Yes,
art
I've
is
seen it
like
before.
those old
Yeah, I would play that.
Newgrounds
with
stick fighting videos like
animations
that,
where the
yeah.
sticks would kill like a million people. It's
Mhm.
like five or six characters. It's like a cowboy, a ninja, a robot, a wizard, and a mutant.
Yeah.
And they all have
so
like
Virtua
different
Fighter.
stick figure represent. Or yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And but it man, it's really cool. It's turn based and
It's
it
a
uses
turn-based fighting
the
game.
vernacular of
Mhm.
fighting games to
Right.
function, I guess. But
Right.
so you start off in the neutral. See, I know fighting games. You start off in the neutral, and then from there, basically, each one of you do your first move, and then it'll freeze at the first moment at which each one of your characters could cancel the move that you just did,
Right.
and it'll give
Based on the number
you
of frames
each,
you've used.
precisely, and you'll have all this information before you select. But you do have like a 30-second timer. So if you're not familiar with people's moves, you'll often spend a lot of the time going, what do all these moves do? But when you do figure out what all the moves do, it'll present to you the frame data for like the startup of your move. Well, more importantly, it'll tell you if your hit it would land, at which frame it would land. And then there's all sorts of things like pre-telling it what angle you'd be like to be pressing the next time you get hit, which is like a
Yeah.
super micro fighting game thing, like that recovery in different directions.
Yeah.
Like this is very minute stuff, but since you do it in a turn-based fashion, you get 30 seconds to think about every frame essentially of a fighting game.
I love it. I think I watched my buddy Brad play with his cousin play this a lot.
The best part, I'll just cut to the chase here, is
Yeah.
when you get to the end of the fight, you get to watch the whole fight back in real time, quote unquote, and you
And it's
look like a
incredible.
badass motherfucker. Because so it's like I can't play fighting games like DBZ.
Right.
What's it called? You know that the one that's made by the Guilty Gear people. But
Like Blaze Blue.
Budokai?
no, the one. That's not a Dragon Ball Z game, and no, Budokai
you
is
mean
not made.
Fighter Z?
Fighter Z, thank you.
Oh,
I can't
see.
play
I'm just
Dragon
like-
Ball Fighter Z, the Dragon Ball Fighter game that's made by Guilty Gear people. But if you could, you would look like this. So it's really satisfying to
cool.
get done. Me and Raph had a crazy nail biter where he was basically playing as a character that reminded me of like Q from Street Fighter 3. and I
Hell
was
yeah.
playing as like a character that reminded me of that cat character from Guilty Gear or from Blaze Blue, the one that has like the black face that you used to play as.
Oh, yeah,
Buck.
yeah. Mhm.
Her moves are kind of like that, and it was just
Yeah.
like, oh man, it came down to where we each had a sliver of health, but you can actually make that sliver of health last for like 5 minutes, and then when you
Yeah.
replay it, it was only like 2 seconds. But you're just like, me and him are just like doing these little tiny jukes on each other. It was fucking tight.
Yeah, he got me stuck in a
That's
combo, and then like I had no frames that I could use. Like I was just getting comboed up, and then all of a sudden I had one move available, and I just dove in and did that thunderclap thing.
It's
and
got like a bursting mechanic
Great.
that is obviously
my
a
God.
copy from a lot of the Arc System fighters. And then everyone has different special moves that you can activate, and kind of like Blaze Blue, everyone has like an independent mechanic to themselves. Like
Oh, cool.
there's a samurai who has a pistol, and he comes with like 6 bullets that he can shoot. But when you're out of the 6 bullets, you can no longer use your shooting move. And then there's like a guy who's a robot who has like a certain number. He has like a gas tank basically that like depletes and then will replenish over time. And it's like it's a full ass fighting game, but you just take it like one frame at a time. Yomi Hustle, aka Your Only Move is Hustle, on Steam. Like I said, it's like less than $10. So
I think
if
it's less
you're
than
not
5.
good at fighting games, but you like the chess like gameplay of a fighting game, where because you can do you before you do your move, you can simulate what you think your opponent's going to do, and then
Yeah.
like because you can select a move off of their roster of moves, and then select a move off of your roster of moves, and the computer will tell you how that will play out. So there are times where you do your best guess to go, I think here he's going to try to anti-air me because I'm right in the air above him. So I'm going to do a mega drop. And then turns out he knew I knew that. And then he does a sweep instead. So I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
damn it. Like
It's rock, paper, scissors,
It's
lizard, Spock.
For
literally,
real,
that's what
and-
we said. It was like,
Yeah.
it's fucking rock, paper, scissors, blank,
But with
blank,
a
blank,
simulator.
blank. And you
Yeah.
get a little simulator to go, computer, what happens if he throws rock? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you should throw paper. Yes, interesting. Yes.
I
Mind
didn't
you,
think
you
of
have
it
to
that
do
way.
all these decisions
Yes.
in like 30 seconds
Yes.
every time.
It's
Yeah.
fucking tight.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah,
Yeah,
go get it.
It's fun.
Yomi Hustle. Buck,
Graphics
what
aren't
is
everything,
your...
kids.
No, they aren't. What is your fighting game gem for the king?
Oh, for the king, I present to you
And
the
keep in mind,
king.
you're in England, so it's extra important. He lives there. I presume.
If they did, oh right, because the king is. Oh my God, what was that? Oh, the king just knocked at the door. Hold on,
Oh,
shit.
shit.
It's gonna
Go-
be good.
go-
King.
yeah.
It's gonna be good, king. I promise. Because I bring to you the king of the early '90s fighting game, possibly the most perfect fighting game of all time. I'm talking about Muy Favorita, Mortal Kombat 2 by Midway Entertainment.
Ooh,
okay.
a legend,
Mortal Kombat
a
2.
legendary game.
Is probably it is my favorite fighting game of all time. I own a Mortal Kombat 2 full size arcade machine. I have owned it for over 20 years actually, and
Wow.
just everything about that game was great. I mean, the first Mortal Kombat blew onto the scene and blew everybody away with the ideas, but the second one just perfected the formula. You know, the distance and the balancing of the characters. The roster is near perfect. A couple years ago at Florida Free Play, which is a big arcade and pinball convention we have down here, I had the pleasure. I got to meet Richard DeVizio, who played Baraka and Kano, and Daniel
Whoa.
Casina, who played Johnny
Did
Cage
you have him
and
rip your head
Scorpion.
off? Yeah.
No.
Did you have him rip your spine out? Yeah, that's cool.
No.
My son got to meet both of them too, though, who he absolutely loves
Wow.
Mortal Kombat too.
Did you
as
have him
well,
rip
too,
his
so that was
spine out?
super fun. Yeah, but then he put it back when he was done, though.
Okay, good.
But it was super cool to meet those guys. Everything. I remember when I first saw this arcade machine after Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter, were already a thing. And the first thing I saw was Baraka with his blades out. Did you see that guy? He's got swords in his hands. This is so freaking
He's got
cool.
sword arms. Holy
He's got
shit.
swords in his hands. But once you saw,
is
like,
gonna be amazing.
that's right. the size of the character sprites and the I want
Yeah.
to say, even as a kid, you knew the motion and the frame rate was so smooth, and the way that everything flowed. And it's so funny because what you just said about Yomi Hustle is like so true when I play my buddy Ben in this game. It's like round 1, fight. Okay, one of us is going to jump kick forward. He can also actually neutral jump straight up and kick if the other guy's going to jump forward. I could empty jump punch forward to, like there's all that mind game
Yes.
it becomes like a choreographed kung fu fight, right? Like you
Yeah,
sweep. No, I
but
actually
Raph,
jumped
you've
over
never
it.
seen this in action, but Buck is very good at Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
and
really.
Ben
Ben is
is
very good
as
too.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time we just use random select because no matter which character we get, pretty much we're going to be okay going against each other. But
Who,
I have loved that game since then.
who's your favorite character? Would you say?
It has changed through the years. When I was younger, and probably still one of my favorites is Reptile. But admittedly so, he's the weakest ninja in that game. He's the slowest. And his moves mix up is really confusing. I've actually grown to like Jax a lot. I think Jax is
Wow,
probably my favorite character in
interesting.
that game. He is Katana was easier to learn as a kid. Melina and Katana both, but Katana's better. Well, Melina's cheap, but Katana's better. But I've really grown to like Jax a lot.
I knew the Reptile. I knew Reptile for sure because that was the character I got my
Sure.
ass whooped by most of the time. He has that slow green orb in Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
2, the one where you like wow,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah. The
travels.
mix up on
I
that.
can't not count the number of times. Yeah, where it bounces you and you bounce right into Reptile, and you try to
Right.
jump over it, or he'll slide you
No.
and then hit you with the. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's
But then
really
you
hard.
Hades
To
was
decide,
the
are you going
first
to
one
jump
that had
kick?
like
Hmm.
the friendships, like was it
3.
Mortal Kombat
Yes.
2? Like
Friendships and babalities also.
babalities, that's right.
That's in
Babalities
3,
in that
right?
one as well
Remember
too.
all
Yeah.
those.
No, they added animalities in 3. 2 had
Oh,
friendships
I
and babalities as well.
did it really? I did not know
Yeah.
that. If the gun to my head and I'm in a Jigsaw game where he says, "I want to play," was there babalities in Mortal Kombat 2? I say no.
I know that's the best one there too. But it's so much fun. There, like you're saying, Reptile 2, when you do that force ball, are you going to jump kick in? Are you going to wait from the land and uppercut and then slide into it? Are you going to do the fast force ball? It's crazy fun. And the
a
newer Mortal Kombat's
huge,
great too.
a huge fucking increase in quality over Mortal Kombat 1. The jump from
That was
Mortal
one of the biggest thing.
2 to 3. Not that you get run, you get
Yeah.
a couple more characters. 1 to 2,
Yeah, you get a
holy
bunch
shit!
more
You can finally
characters.
play Mortal Kombat. You know, well that's true.
Yeah,
But
but you get a bunch more
yeah,
characters in 3. But I didn't
I
like 3
didn't
as
like
much
any
either.
of them. Yeah.
No. Then they did the ultimate thing. I didn't like. So what happened, and this will segue into my other choice for top fighting games. What
Okay,
happened
perfect.
is there was really only a two-way battle at the top. It was Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. There were other people trying to break into it. They had Primal Rage, which was, I hated Primal Rage. It was not very good, but a lot of people liked it a whole lot.
No.
But then the third and biggest contender was from out of left field, and that was a game by Rare, published by Nintendo, Killer
know this.
Instinct.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it.
I
knew it.
absolutely, I adored the first Killer Instinct. My buddy Ben hated it, and he hated Mortal Kombat 3 also, so we just ended up playing Mortal Kombat 2 most of the time. But I think that was a big part of what happened was they were trying to now do this combo thing because Killer Instinct was all about openers, closers, and what moves you had in between, and the combo breakers in between to keep that going as well too. I still remember watching my Donkey Kong Country promo VHS from Toys R Us. And at the end,
Cool.
before the credits, you got to pull this off YouTube and show it. At the end, before the credits, the host of the whole thing just turns to the camera and goes, "Let's see what's in here." And he opens this door that says like "keep out private." And it's a dark room with 2 devs, and it just zooms in on the screen really quickly. And you see Chief Thunder like do his mohawk like headbutt into the knee attacks, and you just got to see like a splash second of Chief Thunder and like Glacius, and you were like, what the fuck was that? Is this a Nintendo fighting game? They're making a Nintendo fighting game? I mean, it was
because it's Rare, right? It's
yes,
Company Rare.
Yeah. Donkey Kong
had
Country,
there-
yep, same guys.
Okay, so because obviously Street Fighter 2 had already been on the Super Nintendo, but you just mean they're making a new? Because Raph, have you ever played Killer Instinct, or have you ever seen it? Do you know what we're talking about?
I've seen like footage of the game. I've never played it myself.
Yeah, it's
though.
like a 3D fighter almost
Yeah,
too, on the Super Nintendo.
But it's very
I say
combo
that, but
based.
the models are 3D. It's a 2D fighter, but yeah,
And
it's infamous for the ultra combo.
Yeah. Which the
sound
yeah,
bite.
that's right. Yeah. And the music was always phenomenal in that game. So the funny
Yeah,
tie in
that's
there
true.
is I owned a Mortal Kombat, a Killer Instinct arcade machine for a while also. And it reminded me of the fact that in the promo during that, one of the things that the attract mode pushed was the fact that Killer Instinct was coming to your homes in 1995 only on the Nintendo Ultra 64. They were promoting the
that's
Nintendo 64.
right.
while it was called the Ultra 64. And the dev time of the N64 went so long that they ended up downgrading the sprite sizes and the sound samples to put out Killer Instinct 1 on the Super Nintendo instead of the N64.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
man.
right.
So we didn't even get it on that console. We later got Killer Instinct 2. Killer Instinct Gold was the other version they put out on
yeah.
N64. Didn't like 2 as much. It had
Yeah,
sequelitis
no.
like Ultimate Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it had that weird Conan the Barbarian guy who was kind of like the main
Tusk.
character, right? Tusk.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I don't
didn't.
remember. I think he was just one of the big characters they pushed. I don't think that game had a cool story. Every character had their own story thing going on, kind of like a Street Fighter with their own endings. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't stick to the same cohesion level. I don't know. I didn't dig it as much either. But I absolutely loved the first Killer Instinct. I loved learning the ultra combos and watching. It brought an extra little bit to that has kind of become part of the Mortal Kombat vibe now as well too, with the brutalities and whatnot. I bring it up as
That's
well.
true.
Yeah, I bring it up as well because if you never played Iron Galaxy's 2017 release of Killer Instinct, which was a really, really good game. It's basically Killer Instinct 3 that we hadn't gotten as a 3. You ever played that one, Matt?
No, Iron Galaxies? I don't know. No.
Iron Galaxy was made by Microsoft bought Rare, and then Rare was contracted by Microsoft to just make those fucking me lookalikes. That's like all they used them for in the Perfect Dark
Yeah,
re-release.
wow.
What?
And
That's
so they
fucked
had,
up.
and I think Iron Galaxy at least did the port for it as well. So they put out Killer Instinct in 2017 that brought a lot of the old characters back. It added some new ones, like I think her name was where was it? There's basically the girl from The Ring is in that game, a giant like golem. They brought back Idol and some others. They brought back Gargos and some of those. But one of the coolest things, it was a really great game. They did some cameos. I think that Rash from the Battletoads is a playable character in that game.
Cool.
'Cause he was a rare character. It followed the
that.
same formula of the openers, the mids, and the closers. To watch pros play this is so phenomenal. But one of the coolest touches they did was when you do combos, especially ultra combos, the music going on in the background will sync to those combos.
Cool.
So it is so cool
That's
that when
really
someone's doing a
cool. That's
combo and it's like, and instead of just bam, 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 the music's like doom, doom, da da doom, da da, like it syncopates with what they're doing,
Wow.
and it's
How'd
super
they do
fun to
that?
watch. I mentioned that
Yeah, for
also
real. How did they do
because it's so cool because their music design is awesome in that game. Like 3 months ago, Microsoft said, "Hey, we really liked that game. Can we pay?" I think it might have been Iron Galaxy again. Can we pay you guys to do some little code updates to this like 7-year-old fighting game and add some rollback net code and some other things? There's a big rumor mill that they're going to revitalize that and bring out another sequel.
Interesting.
That would be great.
Yeah, you would love that. I
Hey,
will
well,
continue to probably not play it alongside Ben.
It's a lot of fun to watch pros play it because the footsies and the back and forth, again, like Yomi Hustle,
Right.
when you're at the
Right, yeah,
pro level, whew,
The
baby.
combos in that game just go and go and go if you don't stop them.
I love watching pros play fighting games, honestly.
Yeah.
I've never been very good at them, but watching
Yeah.
pros
No.
do it is just like a whole.
That
man,
one in
it's
particular,
impressive.
because of the music tie-in, makes it so entertaining to watch.
Raph, what gems do you have for the king this week?
I have a truly lost gem to share today. I am bringing to the king a game called Bushido Blade.
Oh, I have both of them.
Bushido Blade. What's up?
I own both of the Bushido Blade games for the PS1.
Yeah, I've played one, and I remember playing two. I used to rent it actually like almost every week. When,
If I had my shelf
I
here,
never
I'd pull
owned
them
this
both
game,
down
but
for you.
I rented it quite often. But yeah, dude, Bushido Blade, if you're not aware of it, is a fighting game that is a sword-based fighting game. It's a weapon-based fighting game where you can play as, I think it's like 6 playable characters. And
There's a bunch of unlockable
the
characters in both those
fights-
games too.
Yeah, there's a few unlockables, yeah, but like I guess initially you get just a very small
Mhm.
roster.
Yeah.
I don't remember them playing all that differently as far as the characters go. It's the different weapons for me
Mhm.
that really like stood out. As like
some
you
of the
can play with a
characters can
katana.
wield some of the weapons differently. Is the
And
Right,
depending
yeah.
on which of the
Bushido
two,
Blade.
especially in the second one, there were 2 different like factions, and each side had a special weapon that only their faction could use. Like only this side can
I
use the
didn't know that. I
naginata,
didn't
only
know
this
that.
side can use the spear or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, dude. No, Bushido Blade is. I have a lot of fond memories of playing that game. I think the thing that really like makes it so special is the one-hit kill, like potentiality for one-hit kills.
Right.
Very unique for a fighting game. I love the body like destructible sort of mechanic.
Yeah,
thing
you could
where,
bust
like,
their
you
one
can
arm, and
get,
now all of a sudden they're only holding
yeah,
the
yeah.
sword.
Yeah,
They're just-
I guess it's retro
and
enough where I guess probably
PS1.
people might not have played, but you don't have a health bar in Bushido Blade.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
like Rap's alluding to, I'm not sure how it's calculated, but when you hit your enemies, depending on where you hit them, like it will just kill them or not. Like
yeah, head
the first
strikes
Bushido
will
Blade
get
came
like
out
an
in
instant
97.
kill. Yeah,
Wow.
that's insane, by the
Yeah.
way, that the game came out that long ago and it's like
Yeah.
that good. And you know, like this after the second one came out, it's just like it disappeared.
Yeah.
But something in doing
Well-
like research for this
Mhm.
that I didn't remember, but now that
Mhm.
I'm getting flashbacks of it. This game had a POV mode where you
Yes,
can
first
play in
person, yeah.
first person,
It was terrible.
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
It was
really
terrible.
bad.
It was so bad.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard. I was watching footage earlier, and it looks almost impossible. I don't see how anybody could do that with that game. But
Shouts out to
main,
the bamboo
like,
level.
the
So
bamboo
bamboo
level
Because you
forest
could run
where
that,
you
run
can-
through, cutting down
you
the
can-
bamboo.
You
Oh
can
my
cut the
God,
bamboo
dude.
as you run by, and it's so dramatic.
good.
They used
The
to-
my
best part-
favorite is yeah, like these fights could take like 2 seconds, or it could take like 20
2
minutes of
minutes.
you just
Yeah,
running
sure.
around,
Right.
like just.
It was
great.
The best part about that game is it's the only fighting game that you ever played where it was like, all right, first to 15.
Right, because
Right?
one might just
Because-
like end with like you start the round off by just throwing a dagger instantly and just like,
Yeah,
bam,
a lot of
kill
people
your
had like
yeah,
daggers
opponent
and
with it.
fans, and if you
Right.
didn't, you could go pick them up again, or you could do a similar move and you could literally like throw dirt in your opponent's face.
Right,
And then they'd be like,
yeah,
oh, they
in their
guard their eyes.
Yeah.
Great fighting game.
Yeah, all the unlockable
Yeah,
characters
dude.
you're talking about, like every single character had like an unlockable counterpart in 2. So I think 2's roster expanded to like, 15 or 16 characters or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I remember 2 being the more like mechanically complex game, but
Mhm.
1 just like is the one that I played a lot of. It's the one that I remember the most. That along with like Tekken 3 were like probably like the fighting games I played most as
Yeah.
a kid. But
So there was
Bushido Blade
technically
is awesome.
There was technically a sequel to the Bushido Blade series for the PS2. It's called Kengo, Master of Bushido. Came out
Okay.
in 2001 here in the States. It was just them trying to keep that idea going and did not sell very well at all.
That's all right.
That's so sad, dude. I want to like manifest our podcast powers and get a Bushido Blade remake. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be
fun.
Just-
With some
awesome.
with some modern twists, that could be a really cool thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, there is a game called Hellish Court. I've never played it myself, but it's on Steam, and it's kind of supposed to be the Bushido Blade like successor as far as being like a. It's an indie game, but
Oh, I know
it
what you're
uses
talking
actual
about.
HEMA
Yes,
techniques
yes.
and stuff like that. Actual
Oh,
like
that's
sword
cool.
fighting and fencing.
Yeah.
But that's not the only game I wanted to talk about. The other game that I would like to present to the king is a little bit fighting game adjacent, and it kind of ties into Bushido Blade. It's a game called First Cut Samurai Duel. It came out earlier this year.
Yes.
Developed
Okay.
by Night Eyes Interactive,
I don't
and
think I've
this
seen
is
one.
more of a brawler. It's like, what if Bushido Blade was a brawler? It's this
So not Bushido
side-scrolling
Blade at
pixel
all.
art style game.
It's like
And
Nidhogg mixed with Bushido
Yeah, like
Blade.
Nidhogg. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
Nidhogg,
okay.
exactly.
Nice.
Imagine Nidhogg, but with like slightly a prettier Nidhogg with like kind of better fighting mechanics. Like the sword fighting is really well done in that game. But it's always one-hit kills. That's the I guess like the catch is that you're
Right.
kind of blocking hits by lifting your blade up to the middle or to the bottom, depending
That's
on your
cool.
stance. You could block
And you could
the
do that in
hits.
Bushido Blade too, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But yeah,
Wow,
that's
this looks
that's
cool
the
as
other one.
hell.
You should definitely check it out. First
That's
Cut
super cool.
Samurai Duel, fantastic game. Bushido Blade, if you can find it, fantastic game.
It's only $8.99. First Cut
That's pretty
Samurai
cool.
Duel.
That's
But
pretty
Cheeto
neat.
Blade, watching.
What
That's all I have to say
from
about
Gale?
that.
That Mac is deep cutting from the original G4. They had the
original
promos they would
G4
play. And
commercial.
some guy was like,
Commercial.
"Cheeto Blade, wa-ching!" When you get to see a
Because
butt
it's a
naked, he
girl-
was talking
Hold
about
on.
Super
No, yeah, let me-
Metroid.
Oh,
There's a lady asking a guy on the street.
Yeah.
She says, "What's your favorite video game?" And he goes, "Probably Super Metroid. When you beat that guy, you see a butt naked." And then then it just like cuts away to something else, cuts back to him, and he goes, Cheeto Blade, waching. It's just
Yes,
that.
that was the
That
summer of
commercial.
G4. They
That
played
commercial lives rent free in my head forever.
along with
forever.
the hangar level from Tony Hawk Pro Skater where they
Yeah.
play Sell Out by Real
Fucking
Big
good
Fish.
times.
The
All
is
right.
the king
Wait.
of games is the what?
What were you
I
gonna
was
say?
gonna ask if the king of games is interested in best-selling video game fighting game franchise numbers because we know how much I love numbers. Do you want the top 10 or you just want the ones that beat Smash Brothers?
Okay, I'll the ones that beat Smash Brothers, I guess.
There is only one fighting game franchise that has beat Smash Brothers $71 million or 71 million copies in sales over the franchise. Would you boys like to guess which franchise that is?
Street Fighter.
Street
Nope.
Fighter.
Street Fighter's number 5.
I give up.
Oh.
Mortal Kombat.
Really? Oh, because movies.
Mortal Kombat franchise. This is just number of units sold in the game franchise, not dollars.
Oh wow, really?
So 80 million copies of Mortal Kombat games.
Wow.
72 million copies of Smash Brothers games across. I mean, there's only 4 or 5 Smash Brothers games, and there's 13 Mortal Kombat games.
God damn.
I was about to say Mortal Kombat's just playing the numbers game. The more games you
Yeah,
drop,
that's-
right?
Yeah, something like that. But you know what's
Drop
funny?
every week.
I'm looking at this list and I'm seeing Tekken and I'm seeing Street Fighter and I'm seeing Soul Calibur and I'm seeing Marvel vs. Capcom and I'm seeing Virtua Fighter. Number 11 made me jump out of my chair because number 11 on that list is Bloody Roar.
I fucking love that game. I almost
Bloody
brought that
Fucking-
as
they
my.
were great.
I almost brought that as a fighting game gem. It's a game where you transform between animal, bipedal form and
Yeah.
human form.
From
Oh,
like
We
a
shan't
dude, like a
discuss
tiger
it.
dude.
We'll save that for another episode. That game
Okay,
fucking
all right.
whoops ass. But that's perfect. I didn't know that interesting stat because that segues right into our main topic for today, which we'll get to right after this break. Okie dokie, we're back and we are discussing I had no idea, but apparently one of the most top grossing fighting video game franchises of all time.
Mhm.
Super Smash Brothers came out 25 years ago on this day, the day of the
Holy
release of
smokes.
this episode. Super Smash Brothers turns 25, so I wanted to just talk about it a little bit, gush about it,
And
because
ask your
God
mains.
knows we've all exactly
And judge you based
so
on that.
it's so that's
Yes.
crazy. I mean, I was gonna say I don't really have to explain what Super Smash Brothers is, and
Probably not.
Buck kind of just answered why. I didn't realize that, but Buck just answered why in the form of because a lot of people have played Smash Brothers in one
Yeah.
form or fashion. It's been on several consoles at this point,
Mhm.
and it came out in 1999. So
Wow.
that's like several childhoods of that's several generations of
Right.
kids that can play Smash Brothers.
If you grew up playing Smash Brothers, it's time to take your maintenance Advil.
Right. So made by HAL Laboratories and geniused by Masahiro Sakurai, the
Kirby's daddy.
the head, Kirby's daddy. He's if you know this game at all, then you know that he's the fucking workhorse that's brought this fucking
Mhm.
crazy ass franchise. It's Steve from Minecraft, and I can't imagine all the finagling
where your
this guy
brain
had
goes?
to do to get. I'm just trying to think of what's the
It's got
most obscure.
Sonic in it, for God's sake.
What's the most obscure thing? Like, you know what I mean? Because when that was like, he's the last character that happened, and it was just like Jesus Christ, Xbox.
Wii
is
Fit
like,
Trainer.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mr.
Wii Fit
Game
Trainer.
and
What the
Watch.
fuck is that?
Um,
Game and Watch, who's been in like 3 of them.
So since its inception or since its creation, I guess in 1999, it's pretty much. I wrote here in my notes. It's been the sole flagship fighter for Nintendo. Period.
Mhm.
Like they don't
Yeah.
have an, you know what I mean? Like another one. Like it's like how Splatoon is like their shooter game and Mario
Yeah.
Kart is their racer. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they have Super Smash Brothers, and that's basically it. I mean, we joked about the Mortal Kombat 1 port that came to the Switch and how it looks and played like absolute fucking garbage. And most of them are like that, and they have. I mean, Nintendo is famous for making IPs, right? Making new characters, and so far they have not chosen to make a fighting game IP. They've just said, nope, we have Smash Brothers. It's this ensemble fighter, and we're good with that. And
I mean, why would they when they have that kind of roster? Like when they
Yeah,
have
they basically
that
invented a
massive
genre with this,
roster of
right?
games, you know?
Just like with
Right,
Mario Kart and the
yeah.
other things we talked about, there's been multitudes of WB's multiverses and the freaking Nickelodeon Brawl and Brawlhalla, and they sparked another genre.
That's right. I wrote down here the genre is like 2D platform fighter with items and obstacles, and I wrote it's been reproduced many times to varying degrees of success because as
Right.
Buck said, sometimes you get a freaking WB whatever that multi one with LeBron James from fucking whatever
Multiverses.
bullshit, which I guess
You can't
people
play
like,
it right
but-
now. No, you
right,
can't play
and then
it.
people like Brawlhalla, so then sometimes you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
Brawlhalla, you know.
The purist.
Do you guys remember the television commercial for this? Because I'm thinking about
Dude,
it. Like,
I was
about
gonna
it.
get
Plushy
to it. I got
suits.
it in my
Yeah.
notes, so I'll just
This
cut
guy
right to the chase.
like a wrecking ball right there with that commercial. Honestly, it got me so excited.
That was gonna be part of my. I was gonna have us explain sort of our personal relationship to this game, but I was going to mention there's a commercial where it's that song from. Is that the Mamas and the Papas? Is that right? Or the
It's
Turtles?
the turtles.
The Turtles.
Yeah, I think that's the Turtles.
And
yeah.
it's Pikachu and Mario and Donkey Kong and Yoshi, I think. And it's dudes in big suits and they're holding hands through a field of daisies, and then they start fighting each other. And I remember seeing this commercial as a child and having my fucking mind explode from the backside. Like I couldn't believe that you were going to get to play as Pikachu in a fighting game. That was
Yeah.
my thing.
Hell
Buck,
yeah.
you were 8 years older than me, so I don't know what you must have thought of Super Smash Bros. When you saw that commercial.
It's funny you mentioned that commercial because the only two things I think of when I hear that song by the Turtles is that Smash Bros. Commercial and Ernest Goes to Camp.
Turtles, you
the turtle,
should be proud.
the turtle
Yeah,
Pokey
you
bites
should.
his nose and he has to sing that song. It's the only way he gets him to calm down is by singing.
Oh my gosh.
It was wild because, like you just said, Nintendo had never made a fighting game, and as much as it is a fighting game, it's also really a party style fighting game when you play it in its purest form, right? So
Right.
it was like Mario Party came out not too far along the same time, even though this is a totally different vein, but it was like, holy crap, look at Nintendo, like setting the world on fire with these different cool ideas. And they brought in some pretty, the hidden characters in the first one, like what Ness was in that, right? She was like, holy crap.
Yep.
Earthbound wasn't
Really
nearly
popular.
as popular then as it was now. It did not sell super well here, but it was super popular in Japan, which was part of the decision to put him in that game, right?
Right.
I remember us renting that game from Blockbuster, probably only one time, because after that it was like, well, gotta buy that because that freaking game
Yep.
is amazing.
Yep. So the original cast, we can cut to that since you'd mentioned that original cast: Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, Pikachu, Ness, Captain Falcon, and Jigglypuff. Buck, who's your favorite
Punch.
character
From the originals?
from the original? I feel like I know the
That's
answer.
hard. Yeah, that's freaking hard.
Raph, do you know yours?
Link.
In the original,
I
Link
didn't
is
even
good.
have to think about that. Link.
In the original, probably Samus for me.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah.
For me,
In the later ones, I really sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say for me, Pikachu.
He's
Pikachu.
good.
Pikachu's a
Really
good one.
like
Actually, all three of
Pikachu in
these are
that
good
one.
ones,
So
honestly.
who's your
Samus
main
is a good
overall
one.
in Smash Brothers? We're talking any Smash Brothers game. Who do you like the most, or what characters do you
Ooh.
like the most?
Everyone's
judging you.
We play the new Smash. Is it Ultimate? Is the newest? What's the newest one for the Switch?
yeah,
I
Ultimate.
don't even know the
Yeah,
fucking name.
Ultimate.
Right? Yeah.
I think it's all.
Yeah.
And
It is.
so recency bias, but I also just enjoy I love Ridley. I love the way Ridley plays in Ultimate,
Oh,
and
that's
I wish
cool.
he was in the other games. Yeah, really, really cool. But
Mhm.
I'll play as Pikachu in the new one. Like I still
Mhm.
enjoy Pikachu, and he's still a character
Mhm.
I will select.
I have three mains in the newest one, and that's Solid Snake,
Nice.
Cloud, and Robin.
Oh my god, I forgot Cloud was in that game too.
Yeah.
And so
No,
is
but
Terry
my actual
Bogard,
main
isn't
is
he?
Solid Snake, honestly. What's up?
I said, so is Terry Bogard, isn't he? My
So
brain
is
just
Terry
remembering
Bogard.
the so
Joker
it's-
from Persona and every
Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a cool add-on there too. I'm probably either Donkey Kong. I like Samus. When I'm played enough
Kong's
and I
good.
feel good with the controls, I really love Yoshi. I like Yoshi a lot because he's
Jinx.
so
Yoshi's a good
unpredictably
one,
like
yeah.
a dick, right? One of my
Yep.
coolest memories about the series in general was when they announced Brawl was coming out for the Wii. And I don't know if you guys probably remember the hype train associated with that game when like every
Yeah.
week or 2 weeks they announced a new level or a new character and everybody just, freaked out every single time, when like Sonic got announced. It was like, what? Everyone's, mind exploded.
Right. But at this game, didn't get DLC, right? You got these characters and levels from each of those characters' respective video games, and that target hitting racing mode. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
almost forgotten
Absolutely.
that. There's like these sort of time
No.
attack modes where you're in an obstacle course and there's a series of targets that you have to hit with the character's moves. And man, those were fun.
They were all designed around that specific character too.
Right,
Like
all the
each one
mini
was-
levels.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was
Yep,
the
and they
sandbag
sort of
also. You had the home run bat
Oh
mini game as
yes,
well.
that's right.
Yeah.
And they still do that in the newest Smash Bros. They still have mini games that you can play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They still have bullshit that you can do.
But it's always been funny the creative choice that they made because remember, I mean, obviously we all remember, but you don't have a health bar in Smash Brothers, right? You don't get hit and
Right.
then boom, you're dead. You have the percentage, and every character, heavyweight characters can get to a higher percentage before they fly further. And it was the same thing. That was a really creative choice, and I don't know if it was on purpose because they wanted to differentiate or that they just realized how much extra fun that brought to the game, where you could be down
Right.
but not out.
Right.
Yeah.
And the idea that that it's what I want to my last question, I kind of wanted to ask one thing, but the thing that you just brought up really ties into the thing I wanted to close with. But so I guess I'll get back to that. But items, yes or no? You an item person?
It depends on my mood. If I'm playing in a group, no, if I'm playing, so this is the thing that we used to do is just like set like the handicap all the way up. Like basically everybody takes one hit and they're down, or just like, and then just set up all Pokeballs at high rotation.
Yeah, Pokeballs.
You know,
Yes.
yeah, just all
Yes.
Pokeballs, high
That's fun,
frequency,
yeah.
and then just let the chaos ensue. But if I'm getting competitive, if I'm like with people and I wanna really test everyone's mettle, no items.
Yeah. It's interesting because the fighting game scene didn't really pick up Smash Brothers until Melee for the GameCube.
Right, which is probably
and
still
so-
one of the most favorite.
Because this game is a little bit draggy. It's a little bit slow. I'm sure there is a competitive scene for this game, but it's overshadowed
For the
by
original.
by Melee's very dedicated fan base of Melee boys.
Yeah.
But what Raph is alluding to is like a sentiment that a lot of Smash people have, which is like there's Smash Brothers where you have all the obstacles and the items. So like a bullet bill will come into Princess Peach's castle and blow up on you and kill you. Oh, and then someone might throw a bomb from Star Fox and kill you with that. But there's an idea that in order to make this a legit fighting game, you have to turn the items off and the obstacles off, which leads me into the question, where does this game stack for you as a fighting game? What do you think about it? And like, I mean, what's Buck? I'll start with you if you don't mind, but what do you think about Smash Brothers being a fighting game versus a party game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the appeal with it has always been, unless I'm playing a lot of a fighting game, like when you were just talking about playing Round Robin with CVS2 or Guilty Gear or any of those, unless I'm playing a lot, so I have 1 or 2 or 3 characters I'm really good with and we're having fun going Round Robin, I don't appreciate Smash as much in that respect because I don't think I'm good enough. So what I like is the fact that we can play it as a hybrid fighting game / party game. I've always enjoyed keeping the items on, even having the frequency of them up a little higher and keeping it on 4-player, not 1v1, because I enjoy it that way. I get it and I understand the allure of the 1v1 and having it more that fighting game style. But for me, it's always been more of a party fighting game, a group. The fact that in like the newer ones you can play, 8 players is just a little crazy, but it is a blast.
So much fun.
Yeah, I forget we can do that. We never have enough people. We have 5 usually, and we'll do that. But 8 people, I forgot.
It's cool that you
Even
can do
with 5. It
though.
gets chaotic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like-
Raph, what about yourself? I don't know how versed you are in fighting games in general, but how do you feel about Smash Brothers?
So it's funny because like with Smash, it's kind of like inverted for me. I'm not traditionally all that great at fighting games, but Smash I can hold my own in. But I find that Smash still, even though it's like a simple game and it's kind of got like a very shallow learning curve, like there's still depth there. And there are people that I've seen play this game that I'm like, holy shit, dude, like how did you do that? You know, what
Right.
you just did there is crazy. But yeah, for me, I actually find this way easier to get into than most fighting games. I was never really much of a fighting game guy. I owned very few of them growing up. But Smash it's always been my favorite, honestly.
When we were growing up, like as I mentioned, we played 2D fighters a lot. And so when this game came out, it was fun because as a child, the items allowed me to play it, right? And sort of even the field, like Buck said, the hybrid party part. I have our friend David is very into competitive
Yeah.
Smash Brothers, and he's very good with Jigglypuff. And I've tried to go with him to do the 1v1 fighting before, and it is some of these guys get so fucking good. I get my ass creamed every single time.
Yeah.
But I will say that I don't necessarily like the items. We play like a hybrid format here at home where it'll be we'll do 5 players, but no items and no obstacles, and we only do big battlefield, which has 2 tiers of verticality to it. And so it's not so random. We still do have to fight, but it is still 5 people fighting, and so there'll be times when you're fighting someone, and then someone will just punch you in the head from the other side or whatever.
I will often
was
just
fighting
lose
him, not
myself when
fair.
we play,
Yeah.
honestly.
But I don't know. I mean, in terms of being a respected, I'll tell you this: when I did those 1v1 no items on battlefields only tournament things at the arcade here in Orlando, it certainly felt like a legit fighting game.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know, you know what I mean? Like as being in the fighting game scene, I think that they take some weird flack for being the way it is in general, and it's like, well, only if you do this. It's like, I don't know, man. If you ever gotten your ass creamed by someone, you certainly feel like they did it all not randomly. Like Raph said, they certainly fucking set you up to throw you into the ground and then hit you 3 more times, launch you into the air, and then David is constant. Exactly. I was just about to say, David is constantly jumping off of the level to like come get me while I'm off the level, and I'm like, oh, stop! Like
that's what I can't do. That's what I can't do.
Exactly.
In that game.
Relentless.
Not good enough.
Yeah. So I don't know. To me, it is a legit fighting game. It is.
Yeah,
it has this alternate flavor that you can turn on, and of course all the extra modes that Nintendo is trying to be friendly with. And I think that the hybrid accessibility of it having the legit scene and having this sort of casual, dare I say, scene has allowed this franchise to last for 25 fucking years.
Gosh, that's a quarter of a century.
Dude, you know, it has a wide spread of like skill sets that can play it. Like you can play it if you're not very good, and you can also play it at the highest competitive levels, you know? Anyone who says that it's not a fighting game is kind of a snob,
right?
Honestly. Kind of a fighting game.
It's got all the trimmings of a fighting
snob or a party game snob.
Right.
Yeah, right. Which one? Come on.
It's got all the trimmings of a fighting game, but all the fan service of a Nintendo game. I remember that first one being like awesome. Like they did it.
Yeah.
They got all the like Samus. Samus was in it, and it was just like, whoa. The character from Metroid, great game. So,
but it was once again Nintendo going, "Hey, wait a minute, we own all these."
Right.
Yeah.
Way before the guest stuff, right?
This has nothing to do with the first Smash Brothers, but the newest Smash Brothers is done, and Sakurai, I believe, has stepped down. He said, "I'm done with Smash Brothers for now."
Is he like retired yet?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he should, because I think he's worked nonstop for the past 25 years making all these games. But that concludes our segment on 25 years of an amazing 2D platform, item, party, platforming, fighting game, and the only fighting game in the Nintendo wheelhouse, Super Smash Brothers. We salute you. Moving on to our What Else You Got?
Donkey Kong!
Okay, guys, we're approaching the end of the show. We are doing our What Else You Got, where we're allowed to bring anything to the table, be it video game, TV show, or anything else we want to fill our co-hosts in upon. today I I had a game that I wanted to bring, and then I wanted to bring a different game. I I started up Harold Halibut, the stop motion adventure game that is on multi-platform, but I played it on Game Pass, and it's really boring. It's really, really boring. So I stopped to play a much more exciting game, Celeste,
Oh, I love that game.
which I've never
I've
played before.
Celeste.
Oh, I beat it. It was
Are you
great.
frustrated yet?
It was
I
phenomenal.
am not. I'll say this. I should have wrote down this is an old game. So if you don't know who made it
Mhm.
or a way to play it, shame on you. But it's on Game Pass is where I played it, of course.
It's on everything.
It's
I'm on
a-
a Switch copy.
I have it on the Switch. Yeah.
Celeste is a 2D platformer that, geez, I mean that's basically its genre, 2D platformer.
Yeah.
But if I had to make it akin to something, Ori Will of the Wisps comes close.
No, Super Meat Boy.
I was just about to say Super Meat Boy comes close. So what I'm getting at is there is a difficulty threshold. If you don't know the games that
Yes.
I'm talking about, then what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get at is it is a butthole clencher of a platformer. You know what I mean? It's one of those
Lots of
Oh,
double
yeah.
jumping, lots of wall jumping between
It's one-
spikes.
The two games that I mentioned that it's like have one thing in common with it, which is that when you die, you respawn on the same screen because you're going to be dying a lot.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing, right?
But I'll say this: so far, I've only played a couple hours of it, but I really like it. I didn't think I would because
Great.
I don't really normally like the skill-based like platformer games. Like Super Metroid, I love because it's not necessarily skill-based. It's Metroidvania. So while you're doing the same level style of platforming, it's not nearly as technical. This game,
Yeah.
you know, it's got this basically. So far, I only have discovered one mechanic, which is that when you're in the air, you can dash,
Mhm.
and then you can cling to walls. And so they create a series of puzzles for you that involve dashing, hitting an item that replenishes your dash, and then clinging to a wall, and then attaching to a machine that'll fling you across the room. And the objective is to climb a mountain. You're climbing Mount Celeste. And in the very first level, you meet your shadow self, which is basically, it reminds me of the Metroid Fusion, where you have this like alternate version of yourself that's chasing you. And it'll be in these levels where it basically you'll take a route and it'll be like a second or two behind you, and it'll take the exact same route as you. So the game becomes, make sure your route doesn't ever double over itself, or else you'll run into this, alternate version of
Yourself.
you. Right. But it's really fun, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I like it because the style is really nice. It has really, really cute music, and it has really, really cute, like 16-bit graphics. And I like that it's broken up into small chunks. It's broken up into chapters. So unlike Ori Will of the Wisp, which is like a Metroidvania with the difficulty of Super Meat Boy, it's broke down into little chunks. And unlike Super Meat Boy, it has a little tiny cute story and is not the most impossible game I've ever played in my entire life.
Right. Yeah. Meat Boy was pretty hard.
Yeah. So that is my what else you got this week. Celeste, pretty cool. I would like to play some more. Buck, what else do you got for us this week?
Well, I'm in London, man. I'm gonna try and check out some
Fish and
retro game
chips.
shops over here. Oh yeah, I'll do that too. I went to a couple board game shops today. I went to the Orc's Nest.
Are you going to
It's
go to
pretty cool.
Warhammer Town or whatever it's called?
Yeah,
40K
we're gonna go to
Village?
Warhammer. Yeah, we got to go over to
Are you really?
Nottingham, which is a couple hours away. We're gonna go to Warhammer World. Yeah,
Dude,
get my picture
fuck
taken
yes,
with a rhino.
dude.
That's dope.
In case you don't know, me and Buck will occasionally talk about how we grew up with 40K, and still to this day we'll play 40K every once in a while, and
Yeah,
that's a
Kill
British
Team's the big
game,
one,
and they
but
have
yeah.
Warhammer Land over there, which is basically
Warhammer
just
World,
a
yeah.
bunch. It's like Lego World, where there's
It's
a bunch
their-
of
it's
displays
their
of
HQ.
dioramas and shit.
Yeah, but they also have a huge cafe and a museum
Oh, I'm
and
so
all kinds of
fucking
fun
jealous.
stuff.
That's awesome.
But it was like the kid that greeted me at the Warhammer store today that I went to today. Like, I've been playing Warhammer longer than he is old, I think.
Right.
That's like, math says, oh boy.
I fucking love Warhammer.
Yeah,
Nice.
super
Well,
cool.
I
It's
hope
cool. They love it over here.
I hope they have some limited edition pieces or something that you can buy or some shit.
They usually
like,
have some fun stuff. When I went to
yeah,
the
in
one
the store
in
they'll
Tokyo
probably have
last
limited.
year, Yeah, when I went to the one in Tokyo last year, I bought a paint cup, a water cup, and a dice tray from the cafe in
That's
Tokyo.
right. You showed me that. That's sick.
And Christmas
Nice.
ornaments. We have our Kill Team group, the 4 of us that play Kill Team. I
What?
bought a
That's
set
dope.
of 4 Christmas ornaments. So each one of us has
That's
a Warhammer Christmas ornament from that set from
That's
last year
tight.
too.
That's cute. I like it.
nice. Jolly good. Pip pip cheerio. Raph, what have you got for us this week?
So after our, we had a discussion the other day and we talked about some games we really like on the SNES. And I made a frivolous purchase this week, guys. I bought
yeah.
Super Metroid.
Attaboy.
Yeah, dude. He showed me this
Yeah.
earlier.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I realized I didn't own this game and I kind of needed to. So
Yeah.
I went ahead and I got it at my local game shop. And I started playing
Nice.
last night and I fucking love this game.
Dude,
I forgot. It's been years since I played it.
It's so
But,
fucking good.
This is a great game right here. I'm really excited to play this.
That's
You
an
know what always drives
investment.
Yeah.
It's a great game. You know what drives me nuts though about that game when I see from afar is the cover of that game from like 10 feet away. It looks exactly like the cover of NCAA basketball for the SNES. I shit you not. Like look
That's
at I send you guys a link there, and you look at that link and like hold it like 10 feet away from your face. And you're like, holy crap, the fonts are in the same place and in the same
Stupid.
color at the same
That's
angle.
funny.
It is
The
hilarious. It's
guy's
always
got his
driving me-
arm blocking the
Wow.
shot on the guy's hip that kind of looks like a gun turned around.
Yes,
It's
and yes,
actually, like,
and where
I think
Ridley
that's-
is.
I think that's like some sort of shining thing that you're going through from looking at so many games every day.
Mandala effect, probably.
Right,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
most
yeah.
of the sports games go into a separate pile that doesn't get sent out. But every once in a while, people say they want sports, so sure, you can have
All
one of these two.
retro and no fun makes Buck an insane boy. All right.
Something,
That's our
Planet
show,
Zebus.
guys. We did another one. Please make sure to like and subscribe, comment, and even share on YouTube and Spotify. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok. You can find links to all that stuff at linktree/the GTP. Join us next week where we will be doing another console carousel. Guys, I'm not going to lie. We already recorded this one. We recorded this one ahead of time so that there'll be good audio because it's important, because we talk about some of the best games of all time and we get a little bit passionate about it. So make sure to tune in next week. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find them on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you can find music on the internet. We love them. And of course, we'd like to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, owned and operated by the Mega Buck, Tip Tip Cheerio in Jolly Good England. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that sends collectors bespoke boxes of video games every month. Simply make your profile at www.retrogametreasure.com and you'll receive games tailored to fill out your collection. What? That's right. They painstakingly review what you have and what you like to make sure that you get new games that you can play every single month. That's games with an S. RetroGameTreasure.com. Obsessed with video games since 1985. My name is Max Stein and I love... Sorry, I won't do that one. My name is Max Stein and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It's so bad.
It's so
So
bad.
bad.